Good morning, everyone. It's Brenda Quintana here, live from the Beehive at QBsQuest.com. You probably wonder why I'm calling this the Beehive and how I came up with the name QB's Quest and all of that, because it's kind of a different name. So my name, Brenda Quintana, has a Q and a B in it. And so I thought, you know, let's play with that. And so that's how I came up with QB. And QB was my name when I first started Split Coast Stampers way back in the day when I first started stamping. That was my stamping place to hang out and where I'd post my cards and stuff. So when I started my blog, I decided to kind of play on that and do QB's Quest and, you know, doing the letter alliteration, so like the Q and the Q. So that's how I came up with QB's Quest. And I know it's a little different, but I thought maybe because it's a little different, it would stick in people's minds and distinguish myself from other paper crafting people. So, you know, that's why it doesn't have paper crafting or anything in the title. So that's just a little bit of history on how I came up with my blog name. But as an aside, that was a total aside, today is Casing Tuesday, and we take a card out of the catalog, one of the current catalogs. Today it happens to be the Occasions catalog, and we give it a makeover. So we take the card and we decide to do maybe something different with it. You know, sometimes we copy the card exactly. Sometimes we change the colors of the card. Sometimes we tweak the layout. Sometimes we use a new stamp set. So cards can look really different than the original card, or they can look a lot like the original card, and that's a cool thing. And we have a group of bloggers over there that does a whole bunch of samples for us using, we all do the same card. And then you can join in our group too. If you're not part of the Casing Tuesday Facebook group, just look at the link in the description of this video and you can click on that and ask to join. And once you've joined, you can share your cards with us. And if you're not technologically, you know, you're like, I can't take a picture of my card, don't worry. It's not hard. If you have a smartphone, you can take a photo of it and you can post it to Facebook. If you don't know how to do it, you can Google it and it will probably tell you exactly how to post a photo to Facebook. So you can post it to our group and then everyone can see and comment on it. So that's kind of cool. And that's what we hope that you will do, because it's fun to go in and see all the different cards that people have done based on that one original card. So we have a card today, and I'm going to flip this camera around and I'm going to show you today's card, and I'll show you what I did with it, and then I'll show you how I actually did it from start to finish. So let me press my little magic button. Okay, there's my view today. It just right when I was about to start today, it was starting to snow. Maybe there's still a little snowflakes in the air. I'm like, no more snow. We don't want more snow. We just got most of it to melt on our yard. Oh my gosh, my thing is like really hard to move today. Oh. Okay, I must have, last time I put it in place, I must have really given it a hard pinch. Okay, so today's card is this beautiful daffodil card, and it has a big focal point layer and a greeting coming across. So I tried to mimic that with my card, except I didn't stamp these flowers. Someone said today on one of the comments, they're like, whoa, that's really, really pretty paper. And you know what? It is pretty paper, but I want to show you, well, I'll show you what my layer looks like before I add color to it. The paper is actually black and white paper. This paper is called Petal Passion, and it's in the Occasions catalog, and it is just black and white. In fact, the whole designer series paper stack is black and white. There are 2 sheets of this paper that have these pretty flowers on it, And so I cut it up and I colored it with Stampin' Blends. So you take that and it turns into this. So it's kind of fun that you can color with it. And then this greeting, let me put this aside for a second. This greeting is from the Petal palette stamp set. It's a gorgeous stamp set. It has both images and greetings, and I'm just using the greeting from the heart, but it has other nice greetings as well. So that's what I use for that. So let me show you how I made it. So I told you I started off with a piece of black and white Petal Passion paper, and this piece I cut this one to 3.5 inches by 4 3/4 inches. And so I've got kind of my palette of Stampin' Blends here that I'm going to use. So I thought, so the flowers are a little bit different on this card from this card, so you're going to always have to make some selections based on how you cut up the paper and what flowers you have. But I like this general color selection, so I'm going to try and pop in the same colors. The other thing you'll notice with this paper is that shading is already on the paper. So when I color it, I really don't have to do any shading because there's natural shading in the paper. So that's what makes it really easy. So I'm going to start with this big flower in the corner. I don't know what it is, a peony, maybe. I'm going to take my darker, Stampin' Blends come in 2 different shades, dark and light. So I'm going to take my darker Pink Pirouette because the light is really light. And I'm just going to start coloring it. I'm using the brush tip, but I'm kind of using it on the side. I'm not really trying to point it down. So I'm trying to use it on the side just lightly. I think some alcohol markers, they tell you to kind of flick up the color. I took an alcohol marker class way back in the day, but it's been a long time since I've really done one. So I'm just learning how to play with these. The nice thing about Stampin' Blends is they come in, we don't have all the Stampin' Up! Colors yet, but they come in Stampin' Up! Colors, so you're probably already familiar with them. So that's a nice thing. You kind of know what you're going to get. A Pink Pirouette is a Pink Pirouette. This is probably, the darker Pink Pirouette is probably a little darker than the actual Pink Pirouette. I think the light is probably more the actual color. So I'm just kind of hitting that. I'm going to make sure I get all the way down to the corner. I'm leaving the center of the flower free right now. Let me just get all the way around. Maybe a little bit right here. Here. Okay, so you can see I haven't done any shading, but the paper has shading on it. So I can come in now and I can decide, like, do I want to put maybe yellow in the center or do I want to go with green? I think I'll go with yellow. Yeah, I'll just go yellow. I'm just going to use the regular tip for that. Just color that in. Okay, so you can see it taking shape. Now I have the same flower over here, so I can take maybe this lighter rich raspberry and come in here and just hit this one. Today I'm just doing a lot of coloring, and I know that might be a little boring, but I'm doing this live, so I'm just going to show you how I colored this whole piece. There's not too much to the rest of the card, so that's what it is, coloring. I'm using a light touch when I'm doing the alcohol or the Stampin' Blends because I don't want to break down my tip too much. So there's the next flower. I'm going to use the lighter of the 2 cherry cobblers. And I'm going to come up here and I'm going to do these 3 roses. I like red roses. And because we're using other colors for the other flowers, I want to have a lot of pop of color. I want the colors to, you know, just be very vibrant. So I'm choosing really different colors to be on there. If you wanted to do like a subtler palette, you could, you know, do all of one color or like two colors. But I wanted to be like really bright. Let me see. Trying to decide where my rose ends and where the other flower begins. This paper just makes it really easy to lay down color. All right, got a little bit on my work surface, but I'll clean that off later. Okay, so I've got those. So now I've just got these ones up here. So I'll have to decide. I want to do blue. So I might do, trying to decide. Oh, there's a blue flower here. So let me go ahead and do that in blue over here. No. I'm going to do that one in yellow. I changed my mind. I'm going to do these in blue. Halfway through, I saw these flowers over here and I'm like, I did those ones in blue, but no, I'm going to do, because I don't have another yellow flower on there, so I'm going to do these guys here in blue. And then I'm going to do that one over there in yellow. A girl can change her mind halfway through, right? See, I really didn't have this pre-planned too well. But it's looking pretty good, even though I don't have a plan for it. Now I'm going to take my Daffodil Delight and come in here and do this flower. I think that makes a lot more sense. The Stampin' Blends has like such bright color. Okay, so now I need to make one more color choice. So I think down here, I'm going to orient my card. I'm trying to decide how I'm going to have it oriented. This banner is going to come across here. It's either going to come across here, or it's going to come across here. I think I want it to have it come across here. Okay, so I need to choose a nice color for up top there. How about I do the darker of the two rich razzleberries? Come in and do that. It's going to be very dark, but I think it will look good. All these choices, right? People have no idea how hard color choices are when making cards. It's, you know, you want to choose like nice compatible colors, realistic colors, and with florals, you know, there's so many different ways you can go. Okay, I think that looks good. So now, trying to decide, I'll do the lighter of the Old Olive, and now I just have to hit the leaves. See how nice that shading helps? You know, you're just, the shading really helps with the coloring. If I were doing it and it didn't have shading, then I'd probably want to come back in with my darker color and give it a little bit of shading, or maybe use one of the neutral colors and bring it in and do some shading with that. I'll do green right there. That was probably part of a flower, but since I don't want to bring out another marker, I'm just going to come in and hit these leaves, pretend these are all leaves. That might have been another flower over there, but now it's going to be a leaf. All right. Oh, one more. Okay. I think that looks pretty good for some quick coloring. So it definitely looks different than my other one, huh? So that is the coloring part. So now we need to do a greeting for it. And I have a piece of thick Whisper White, and I cut this piece to 3 5/8 inches by 3 1/4 inches. And I'm going to take my triple banner punch my banner triple punch. I always say that wrong. And I can stick this all the way down. Now sometimes I get it a little crooked when it's a little smaller than my guide. So I flip it over and I stick it down, and I can see it on the other side. So I can make sure it's centered when it gets down to the bottom here. And then it makes it easier to kind of not have the crooked thing going. So I'm going to have this arranged like this. Need my Memento ink pad and my greeting. I've got this one on a G block. Ink, ink, ink. So hopefully I can stamp this straight. It's a little high. Good thing there's like 2 sides to this cardstock, right? Okay, let's make it a little lower, bring it in a little bit. Okay, that's not too bad. So now I need to assemble this card. So I chose Soft Sky as my card base, and I cut it to, so it's a 10th fold, so it's 11 inches by 4 1/4 inches, and I've scored it in half at the 5 1/2 inch mark. And then I have another layer of cardstock, and this is basic black, and it's 3 3/4 inches by 5 inches. So first of all, I'm going to bring these two together. And today, in honor of the upcoming Fast Fuse sale, I'm going to use Fast Fuse. For those of you who aren't familiar with Fast Fuse, it is a little bit stronger product than Snail. It holds a little better. There's a little bit of a learning curve to it, but once you've got it down, it actually is a really good adhesive to keep those layers on the card. And starting on the 8th and for 5 days after that, Stampin' Up! Is running a sale where if you buy the regular Fast Fuse, like the holder, which comes with already Fast Fuse in it, you'll get 2 refills for free. And so that's like a really awesome sale. So if you haven't tried Fast Fuse yet, it's a really good chance to try it and get some extra refills at the same time. So, oh, look how pretty this is. I did this with my other paper too. So this is the back side of the paper. And I love the way when you color through, it shines through. So, you know, just by coloring the front of the paper, I've created this kind of spectacular paper on the other side. So, I mean, theoretically, I could like stick this on here like this and do that, right? That looks kind of cool. It's not quite as florally, and of course I do want to use the floral side since I spent all that time to color it, but not a bad look either, right? Because the paper is thin, and these are alcohol markers. They really do sink into the paper. So how do I use my Fast Fuse? Okay, you roll it towards you, and then they say to do a check mark. I kind of just go to the side, but I alternate sides that I end on so that the tape doesn't get pulled to one side or the other. So I'll go down one and go to the right, go down once and go to the left. And then I just keep doing that right and left. So it breaks it off going in different directions. So let me, okay, I want this flower to be down like this. I know I'm being OCD, aren't I? Okay. All right. So I've got my Fast Fuse back, and now I'm going to do the same for the other side. See, it works pretty well. And then I'm going to add this to the front of the card, maybe a little bit askew. It's hard as an OCD person to put crooked layers onto the front of the card, so I'm just trying to get it, but I like the look. I like the look, but I have to kind of still be a little bit OCD about my crookedness. So this is, I remember I stamped it twice. So that is the side I don't want. And then I can just add this to the front. I'm going to make sure it is straight on the side. Okay, like that. Then I've got some of these 2016-2018 in color glitter acrylic shapes, and I'm going to use the little floral, and I'm going to use a mini glue dot, and I'm just going to add that to the front and stick this on here like that. Now if I was going to mail this, I probably wouldn't use these shapes unless I was mailing them in a package that was, you know, that had other things in it with some depth in it, because this sticks out about 1/8 of an inch. And so, you know, you'd want to protect that at least with maybe a cardstock layer on top. You could mail it. It's not that you can't, but I tend to use things that are a little bit flatter. So, you know, we've got some, if you don't like that, you could use some of our glitter enamel, like our glitter dots. They will be a little flatter, or rhinestones, something that's a little flatter. But I do like the look of this little flower on this card. So I think it does have a nice look to it when it has the flower on it. So there are the two cards, and you know, this paper is just so pretty to color on. And you could, you know, maybe color the whole piece while you're sitting down watching TV and then cut it up and use it. I kind of just like to use it, you know, on a piece by piece basis. I cut it up to the size I need and then I color it. So, you know, it's kind of pretty. So let me flip you guys back around. You'll see my ceiling for a moment. Yay, ceiling. All right. Okay, so I just wanted to remind you that if you want to join our Casing Tuesday Facebook group, go look in the description of this video. If you saw any of these supplies that on this video, all of them can be purchased. You can just click on my blog post link, which is also in the description of the video, and you can go to my blog post, and I have photos. Well, I have a photo of my original card and a close-up, and it shows you all the supplies, all the colors that I use in the Stampin' Blends. The blends are nice because they can be purchased individually, so you can just purchase the colors that you need. You can try them out, like if you're like, oh, I don't know if I want to invest in Stampin' Blends. Well, you can just try out the colors that you like for now, and you don't have to necessarily invest in all of them, and see how they are. I like them because they are easy to use, and you know, some of the other alcohol markers out on the market, they are a little bit more complicated with their color scheming and stuff. These are really easy to use right starting out, because you already know the color that you're getting. You know what cherry cobbler is, you know what pink pirouette is, you know what old olive is. So they're a lot easier to use as a marker. And then they have the dark and the light, so that's really easy for natural shading. And then we've got different neutrals, like we've got the smoky slate and the crumb cake, and then we've got ivory and bronze, and we've got a color lifter. So it's a nice set, and hopefully, I'm hoping Stampin' Up! Will come out with some new colors in that new annual catalog, but that won't be for another few months. I've got my fingers crossed that they will do that, because that would be really cool. So don't forget about the Fast Fuse sale. That's starting on February 8th, and that's great because you buy the regular, you know, Fast Fuse like this, and then you get 2 refills. So there's already one inside the big applicator, and then you get 2 refills on the side. So it's a really good deal. So I hope you guys all have a good week. Let me check if there's any, what markers were used. Darlene. That's sorry that you missed the beginning. The markers that I'm using they're called Stampin' Blends, and they're available from Stampin' Up. They are our alcohol marker. So you'll want to use them with the designer series paper that I used today. The ink was already set. But if you're using them with, if you're stamping, you're going to want to use some Memento Tuxedo Black ink and to stamp your images, because you want to use the correct ink, otherwise it will bleed. So you want to use these two in conjunction. And our Whisper White paper is really a really good surface to blend on. So that's what's recommended for our Stampin' Blends. So those three, and then we've got we don't have every single color that Stampin' Up has right now, but we've got a good assortment of the most popular colors, and I feel like in the future they will bring more colors in, because that's what they usually do. So I'm hoping that we'll see some new colors in the annual catalog. But the color selections that we have right now are pretty good, because we've got a big range. But of course, you know, with colors, with artists, stamp artists, we always want more colors. So I really hope that they do bring more colors in, so that we can have even more ability to do different things. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. So if you go on to the description of the video, click on my blog post, down at the bottom of my blog post, there's a photo index of all of the supplies I use, and you can just click on them and it will take you directly to that spot in the Stampin' Up store, and it has a more detailed description. Okay, thank you, Darlene. Okay. Oh, and what Christy asked what paper was used. It is the Petal Passion Designer Series paper in the Occasions catalog. Now, that paper, I'm trying to see if I have it here. Okay, so that paper comes, it's all black and white paper, okay, like this one right here. And some of them, like, it all can be colored on, but you only get 2 sheets of this paper. So then we've got like different paper, like we've got these little cute little flowers. So you could color the flowers on the back of that sheet as stripes. So, or you've got this polka dotted paper. On the back of that are leaves. So, you know, everything can be colored, but not everything is going to look as beautiful as those 2 pages of florals. I'm trying to see if there's anything else florally. Oh yeah, there's this one right here, which has a lot of flowers on it as well. That would be great for coloring on. So you get 2 sheets of each of the paper, and they're double-sided. So if you don't like one side, generally you'll like the other side. So if you click on the Petal Passion paper in the supply list, it will also show you the different patterns, so you'll see what you're getting. So this is a nice pack because it's a neutral, so you can put it with any other color if you want to just use it as a black and white, which is really nice as well. Let me see if there's any other questions. Okay. All right, I don't see any other questions, but thank you so much for watching today, and I will be back here next week. I do this every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then I always will post the recording. The recording is available on Facebook, and then I also put it later on YouTube, and then I also have a link to it on my blog. You'll be able to watch this video directly from my blog, so in all of those places. So I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.